the first time we've done a book launch in both the UK and in Mexico at the one time. So this is definitely a first. And if it wasn't enough to be in the UK and Mexico, we're also in York.
Yes.
So, Agnes, tell us about the event that you're hosting tonight.
Yes. So welcome everybody. Good night, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everybody hold the word. And thank you so much who is joining us. And Paula M. Zaragoza, she has a degree in journalism, communication intelligence specialist, and she is my best friend, business partner, teacher, and my life-changed woman. She was born in Mexico City in the early 70s and went through a challenging childhood living in a monoparental family. Lecturer, radio broadcaster, writer, and author of this book, The Bulletproof Woman, Live Your Truth and Return to Your Being and Woman Empowered from the Being, a New Feminist Manifesto. Creator of the podcast Bulletproof Woman, dedicated to the accompaniment and empowerment of women. She is a born communicator and passionate about the female gender, to whom she has dedicated most of professional work. And very interesting, Paula, she's absolutely honest. Everything is come in her heart, and everybody love and she's teaching. So absolutely is a famous girl, famous woman. Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you for that, Agnes. So let me go across to Paula now. There you are in glorious Technicolor. Can we all see you? There we can. Can everybody see Paula on the screen?
No.
No. Don't you see me?
No.
No.
No, yes.
Okay, that's brilliant. So congratulations on the book. But of course, the book has already been around the world in many countries already. And you've enjoyed great success with the book, and we're about to enjoy even more in the UK as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. I've been publishing for 23 years, and one thing I've learnt about authors is that they're very dedicated. They work really, really hard, and very often you're working away at your manuscript. It's 3 o'clock in the morning and everybody's asleep, and you then put the final full stop on your manuscript and you look up and there's silence. There's nobody there to recognize your hard work. So I believe authors are deprived of recognition. So the purpose of the call today is to redress that balance and to make our wonderful author feel appreciated and recognized for what she has achieved, which is enormous. And so your job tonight, when you have the opportunity, is to provide some stunning applause. Not yet, but later on. Now, I work with many speakers and many speakers who are writers, and some have worked really hard on creating a career for themselves and building a career from nothing. But with Paula, it has happened almost in spite of you, not because of you, because people have been drawn to you and drawn to your experiences, drawn to what you have learnt, drawn to the fact that you are a naturally sharing person and want to help. And so your success has come from you and from the wonderful sharing attitude that you have. So there is nothing manufactured or synthetic about your success. You have created your success by being who you are and by being open and sharing and natural and wanting to help other people who are on that bumpy journey of life that from time to time trips us all up. So for that, I really congratulate you. So tell me, if you would, how did your journey start? What were the first steps of all of this?
Well, thank you. Thank you for your kind words, Chris. I really believe so. I really believe that the answer and the success, that, if you can call it a success, that this book has had in the last year, well, since it was published in Spanish, it's the intention, the real and the honest intention is just to reach out lives, to make people's lives better the way I can, the way I know, regarding my experience and the things that I've learned, sometimes in the hard way, most of the times in the hard way, as most of us learn things that are valuable in life. I think then when you have traveled the stormy seas, you learn that life must not be that difficult, that you can choose to be happy from the beginning, and you don't have to trip so many times to make your life abundant and your life fulfilled. So my journey began when I realized this, when I found the real purpose of everything that has happened to me in my entire life, and in a particular period of time when I felt that everything has ruined. My life was completely devastated, and I had no future. And when I realized that all the answers that I was looking for were not outside, and they were inside me, and the trip was inside, and not in the doing, but in being the best version I could with what I had at the moment. So I began this journey when I discovered that maybe if you could do this analogy, and life had 100 steps like a ladder, maybe I was in the 6th step, but and I have a lot of work to do still, but there are some people that are on the 1st step, and we always need someone to look after to, or some inspiration, right? Because myself, I'm always looking for people who inspire me to become better, people that have more conscience, that I have more awareness, as Max shared. And I've worked in this awareness to be able to share as simple as I can, with the simplest language I know, the tools and the paths that I have discovered are easier to travel in life when you have crisis, or when you have difficult times in life. So that's where it began. And let me share with you something very interesting that someone asked me the other day. And she asked me, because I'm mentoring a big writer to be in writing her book. And she said, who do you need to become to write the book you wrote? And that made me think that for that, I needed to fall in love with me and my story, right? To love myself fully and love my story and everything that had happened. And when I did, the magic happened. And the words came out and the projects began to happen. And that's where I began all this journey.
And sometimes when life is happening, and despite your great attitude and despite your positive outlook, things can happen that can throw you. And you know, it's not easy to stay focused and objective when life is not behaving itself and causing you problems.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's been a very few years that my life has been steady. But before that, we're talking about a 49 woman who had been steady for the last maybe 3 years, right? But before that, life was always like this, right? And then you understand the full meaning of resilience, right? Because resilience is like the name of Bulletproof Woman. It's not other thing that I mean, I don't like to take bullets, right? I'm not into war or into battle at all. But what I mean by this title is that when you start being resilient and learning how to navigate through stormy seas, then the bullets keep on coming. You keep receiving them, but they just how do you say, they slip. You are like a slippery surface, and nothing gets into you, or maybe not nothing, but the least things, the less things. And so life goes on, and life's hard sometimes, and life happens every day, and you learn how to deal with things in the best way you can, with a smile, with positive thinking, and and you learn to breathe deeply when you need to, and to meditate, and to make a space between the thing that's happening and yourself, and you understand things happen. They don't happen to you, they just happen.
Yeah.
And you are in charge of the response that you're giving and your reaction, and that's the only control you have, of your reaction. You don't control almost anything in life, just your reaction. And that's why you have to work so much on yourself to be calm, to be healthy in your mind, in your body, in your soul. So when you are calm and steady, life can turn around as many times as it wants, and you are still standing with a smile on your face, right?
That's you know, a very inspirational way of looking at it. So what you're saying is no matter what happens, the only thing you control is the choice of how you react.
Exactly. Exactly, and that's what you learn, and that's the awareness. No, the awareness that you begin to build, or you contact at some point, and you're aware of all the miracles that you witness every day. That your life is a miracle every single morning, to be able to open your eyes, to be able to talk, to hear, to use your senses, to be able to have a roof under on the top of your head. And that sounds maybe cliche, but it really is a miracle, because when you don't have it, or where you are, when you are hungry, or where you are in deep shit, deep trouble, you realize that those are the real miracles you want to see every day, right? So you value life, and you become very thankful person. And when you thank for everything, well, yeah, your as we talked before, no, your the glasses you wear are different, and you're in the yes way instead of the no way of seeing life.
So one of the key parts of your life is gratitude, and just never forget that everything is a gift.
Exactly. Exactly. And that life is a gift also. It's not a right, right? To live another day, it's a gift. And when you realize this, and you don't feel entitled of many things, but you just live with all the grace and all the beautiful things that you get to live, life is different. And no matter where you live, where you are, what you have, you are fulfilled. And it doesn't mean that you don't want things, or you don't work on things, and or to achieve things, or you have a purpose in life and you're building a path to somewhere.
Yeah.
You live your here and now happy and fulfilled. And I think that's the real success in life, is to be happy, fulfilled, and live in peace the most of the time you can. I think that's the real success in life. That's at least for me.
And so few people have the courage to dream, and have the courage to look into the future, and see something that they can believe that they can achieve. So many people are shy and don't feel they deserve, and are held back by not believing in their future.
Right. Because I think the biggest illness of humanity is not feeling enough. And this is the lack of security, and this not feeling enough is, I think, is the origin of all the mental, soul and physical illness that people have, not feeling enough. So I am working also in a new message, where you are enough, and you are everything you are meant to be right now, already. You don't have to look for anything. You are perfect as you are. And the job is to find it, to contact what your greatness is. That's your job. And everything that tells you different, it's the things that you have to get rid of,
Yeah, yeah.
I think, right? So yes, if we really and honestly knew that we really are enough for everything that we want and everything that we wish for, life would be different for everyone.
The it, it's so often the case that we have a cacophony of different negative voices in our heads, giving us good reasons why we shouldn't reach out, why we shouldn't believe in ourselves, why we shouldn't look at every opportunity in a positive way. How do you silence those negative voices?
Well, by learning, in my case, through time and through all the therapy and everything that I've done, I've learned that all those voices inside your head are the voices of your limiting beliefs, the voices of your parents when you were young, the voices of your teachers at school, the voices of the people at church, or different churches you attend, and the voices that you think that are your reality. But actually, when you realize your mind is just that, it's a repeater of all other people's ideas about you. When you learn to separate that, and you say, okay, that's what I have learned from other people about me, but who am I really? What do I really want? What is my passion? What do I want to do? Really, me, not other people or the image I want to give to other people. Just me. And when you are brave enough to assume this and say, okay, maybe all these people, live or dead, will not accept the step I'm going to take, or this how do you say ¿cómo se dice un argumento? An argument, yes, something that you want to say, it's not valid for your mama, oh my God, or it won't be valid for your authority figures, and you're brave and you say, okay, and it starts mostly when you are in the middle age, right? Around your 40s, when you have your middle age crisis, that you start believing that maybe you can start doing things different than you have always done. And maybe it can change your life, and maybe you can start living the life that you really want to live. And if you're brave enough to go inside and get in touch with your greatness, then you can start walking that path through to what you really want.
Wonderful. That's such an inspirational answer. I've just on the chat, I've just been told that there's a number of other people having trouble with the link who are trying to join us. So we'll have a number of dings happening very shortly with other people joining the call, which is great news. But as we've paused for a second, let's take some questions for Paula. So this is your moment to shine. There's Nicole, there's Maria, there's Max, and there's Mary just joining us as well. So, but who's got a question for Paula?
Somebody, anybody?
That's great. Who's dinging? That's Mary just joined us. Hello, Mary. Nice to see you.
My question would be, listening to you, you present such a peaceful manner. Where the name Bulletproof Woman came, how it came to you, that name for the book?
Good question.
Yeah, that's a very good one. Well, let me share with you, Max, and you know that this company that we used to work for, right? Sometime in life, I was arriving to a meeting, to a big meeting that I was leading for this network company, network marketing company, and if you read my book, my husband at that time was hospitalized, and he was in a very bad position. But I did needed to go to the meeting because I had so many guests and I had so many things. So when I was arriving to the hotel to this meeting, this leader looked at me and said, "Oh, here it comes, the bulletproof woman." There she comes, because I don't believe that she's here right now. What are you doing here? And I said, well, I don't know. I needed to be here and whatever. But when he said that, I had an aha moment where all my life went by my like two, and I realized that so many times I have received like all this shit on me, and my reaction always is okay, so what's next? I need to clean up and keep on moving. And that has been my attitude always. I say, yes, I'm in pain, yes, I received a very good hit, but in Spanish I have this saying that no hay más que pa'lante. No, there's nothing but what you have in front of you. Yeah. You just have to keep on moving. And this bullet, well, when I was thinking about names for my book, I realized that maybe the name would be kind of aggressive because of the bullet thing, And I didn't want to identify myself with, as I said, with war or with struggle or with battles. But this image of me receiving bullets or shit and just letting them split and keep on moving, that's what I liked about the name. So that's what I chose it.
What came first, the name of the book or the book?
The book.
Good question.
No, the book. Yeah. The book. And when I was writing the book, I mean, I don't know if it's I think it's the second chapter that I tell this story that this guy told me, the Bulletproof Woman. And when I finished the book, I said, no, that's the name. That's the name I want for my book.
Yeah, it's so often the case, speaking as a publisher, that the title of the book is actually in the manuscript, but at the time it wasn't recognized as being as strong. But this is such a strong title that, and it's such an empowering title that the book can't fail to do well.
Yeah. Marvelous. And actually, when I chose it and I asked 2 or 3 people, what do you think if you find this book in a bookstore and you see the title, will you buy it? Of course I will buy it. Of course I will buy it. And everyone said yes. I say okay. So even if some people think, and please, universe, don't think I want to take more bullets. I say I don't want to give the wrong impression. But yeah, it's a powerful name, I think. Yes.
It is indeed.
Very powerful.
I think it's a great name because many women see themselves receiving bullets every day, and that's their fight. So you present like the solution to that. So
yeah, because you speak at some point, we know it. You speak to a pain, right? When you're doing the kind of work that we do, you try to identify the pain of people and you try to give them some solution to that pain. And their pain is my pain. So when I realized that my journey was to find, let's see if this makes sense to you, to find myself in every woman, find myself in all the stages of my life in different persons, and tell me when I was losing a child, hey, there's a tomorrow, don't worry. No, I mean, I'm a lot 20 years after that, but there are people that are living that today. So I tell people what I would love to hear at those moments when I was dying in sadness, I was struggling, I was devastated, I was broken. I tell them what I needed to hear at that time. So this is a book that rescues Paula through her life, really. Yes.
And not just you, but it's a book that rescues so many other people as well. What do people say to you that really made the biggest difference to them from your book?
Well, I think in most of the cases, Chris, my book is just a mirror to let other people see themselves as they really are, and allow them, through the questions and through the tasks and the tools that I share, they let them see themselves with absolute honesty and say, okay, maybe I have been telling me this story about me all my life, but the real me tells me now I need to shout this. I am not happy. I am not fulfilled. My life, I don't like my life. I don't like what I do. I don't like people stepping on me. I don't like being a 24/7 mom without any possibility of looking at myself and taking care of myself, and a lot of stuff that most of people, and I mean men and women, sometimes don't have the courage to recognize. So I think the book, what the only thing that it does is being a good mirror for everyone to see inside and be honest and start walking in a different direction to peace and to happiness and to fulfillment.
It's interesting that from what you were saying, people have spent a lifetime rehearsing their story, and their story is justifying what they've done, and it's making excuses for what they've done. Just by changing their words and changing their story, it suddenly positions them in a different space.
Exactly, and one of the I think the most powerful messages inside the book I mean, I'm not the first one to say this. Every single writer that counts say it, and a lot of them talk about the here and now and the present moment and whatever. But what I share about my life and I make you see is that every step you have to be 100% responsible of your life and realize that every step that you have taken, aware or not, right, has taken you to the place that you are now. Even you like it or not, even if it's hell, and even if you think that everyone has the blame, you took the steps to the place that you are in. So the only person that can move you from where you are is you. And you have to walk. And if you're expecting that some Prince Charming, being a woman, or some godmother will come and tell you, oh, there's your gift, everything is solved, now come on and live your life, be happy, eat whatever you want, and you don't have to do anything, that's a lie, right? So you are here because of you, and the only one that can help you to get out of any situation you don't like is you. So work on yourself, invest on yourself, read, treat your body with love, treat people with love, and connect with love, right? Because when you do the things from a loving attitude, even the most hateful person will change his attitude. And that's my absolute testimony and experience, that I learned from this great author that I admire so much, Robin Sharma. And he quotes this in every single book and in every single video he makes. And he says, be the kindest person you know.
That's really
always.
sweet.
And you will receive that in return, always, right? And I think I believe in that fully.
And, in fact, I know that you've been influenced by so many wonderful writers. So tell us a bit about the ones that have really touched you.
Well, this Robin Sharma has touched me so many times. Max Fleischer here has message, really, his insights have led me to very good aha moments. I'm a big admirer of Julia Cameron. I am a real good admirer of Elizabeth Gilbert. I admire Randy Gage a lot, and especially his messages have made me think in things that I haven't thought before many times. And what else? Who else? Vishen Lakhiani, which is the founder of the Mind Valley Institution. I find him very inspiring, and I am also looking for new authors, right? Naval Ravikant, I admire him so much, and I love people that make you stop. What? And this, you read again, what? What? And they make you keep on thinking all day and reflecting on something. That's the kind of authors I like to read
Yeah,
and
wonderful.
to listen to.
Thank you. Now, we've had a number of people join us during the call, and they haven't had an opportunity to speak or to ask questions. So I'm opening the floor to anybody that would like to participate.
I would like to participate. Hello. I'm
Hello.
sorry that I don't have my camera on. I just want to ask if my sound is okay, or if you can listen the echo.
The sound is fine. It's perfect.
Okay. First of all, I just wanted to say to Paula that I'm a huge fan. I've followed her since she did the Bulletproof Woman podcast, and she has helped me throughout my life in very specific moments. And I wanted to ask you, this charm you have on your necklace, I guess I know that it's a trinket. In Spanish it's called triqueta. I don't know if in English it's trinket or something like that.
Yes, it is.
But because I know you a little bit, I think this is a huge symbol for you, and you've included it on one of the last chapters of your book. And I wanted to ask you where this from where does this symbol comes from, and why does it have so a huge impact for you and your book, and how do you present yourself as a female warrior?
Oh. Well, actually, it's exactly like that. Thank you for the question, Nicole. And when I was building my entrepreneurship, and when I was looking for symbols that identify me and my brand, because I, from the very beginning, I committed myself to make this very professional, right? And I was I had mentors who helped me on this, and some event that I quote in my book is that from when I was young, my family used to call me the small Valkyrie, right? And the little Valkyrie and little Valkyrie, and I didn't know anything about Valkyries. And when I become a good reader, I made a good research about Valkyries, and I discovered that they belonged to the Viking world, right? And they were these warriors, the powerful women warriors, who not just were in battle, but were the ones who take care of the people that have fallen in battle. And they took care of their people to rise them again. And they were the symbolic, symbolic angels that when someone died, took their souls to the Valhalla, which is the sky of the Vikings, right? So when I was looking for all these symbols, I remember when I was young, my mom used to do all these Celtic, great, ¿cómo se dice grecas? Yeah, the Celtic designs, you know. She's a painter, and she used to do this, and when I saw this one, this Celtic trinket, and I read about all the meaning that it had, I was so amazed. So I began reading about it, and I took it as my personal symbol and reminder that the Valkyries never quit. Okay, so I looked for it, I bought it, and now many women that are part of my tribe now have one, right? Agnes has her own, yeah, and it's in my logo, it's in everything that, because it's a reminder. I believe hardly in symbols, and that symbols mean something, and it's the balance between the three things that you most believe in. Like you can give the trinket many meanings, but for me is that, and it's like the symbol of the Valkyries that belong to my tribe now. that is
Wonderful. A great question. And,
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and you have different descriptions of the qualities of Valkyrie in your book, along with the different symbols, and that's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really started because this came to me like at the very end of when I was writing the book, like in the last month, that I discovered all these meanings of the all the symbols that I share in my Valkyrie code, right? Which that's my like my intellectual property, right? So I developed a process that you can go through to be more aware and to be more happy and to do all the job that you can do inside yourself. But I think it's included in one of the last chapters, but I think I could write a book, complete book, just on this.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to work on yet.
You know what your next job is then, don't you?
I do. Absolutely.
Oh dear. Do we have any other great questions to
Me,
share?
I have another question. Hey
Great.
to everyone. So
Hi.
I would like to ask you, Paula, what would you recommend to the women or the people that are struggling and that don't know how to get out of their place in which they suffer, but they have people in charge, like they have a responsibility, like children, or they have, for example, their parents or a person that is sick, and changing their reality will mean that that will mean that the decision that they make will change the reality of the people that they are taking care of. How can they change their life if they have someone behind, you know?
Yes. Well, I don't think it's ¿cómo se dice? I don't think they need to be separated. I think when you start working on yourself, it doesn't has it's not related to what you do. I have this saying that this analogy where you have a jar of water, right? And if you are a jar of water and you don't have any water in you, how can you fill the glasses of the people around you? And this question, it hits me hard because I did change with a lot of kids under my care, right? And in my experience, that I changed make them evolve also, because they saw me evolve. They saw me being more aware of the very important things in life, and they change with me, right? I didn't have to leave everyone to become better. You become better by being in service, by giving love, by transforming others people's life. You transform yourself. So I think it's all like a big ball of love and awareness that works when these things change.
Oh,
Did I
perfect. So you say that you should like love yourself first and do things for yourself first, and then your surrounding will change and
Exactly.
consequentially. Okay,
That's exactly
that's
right.
very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great. Agnes, do you have anything that you'd like to share?
You. Yeah.
What if you
Move the camera so we can see.
Yeah, because I can see her or listen to her.
Come on here. Yes, come in.
Coming to the centre. That's great. Good. We can see you.
Oh. Hello. What if the bullets are coming from yourself and it's sort of worries and self-doubt?
What if the bullets are worries and self-doubt?
Coming
from yourself.
from you.
From you.
Well, you will be surprised, but most of the damage that it's done to yourself comes from you.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, you are.
No.
In every case, you are your worst enemy, and your mind is your worst enemy. So, you, in my experience, you need to start loving yourself a little, taking care of yourself first, and when women that are very, very confused or in a lot of pain or living very hard lives tell me, where do I start? Please tell me, where do I start? And I say, start simple. Start by drinking more water, sleeping more, eating better, doing things that fulfill you, reading things that make you, that fill your heart with joy. If you like to, like Max will say that also, no? Be like a kid again, right? Have fun in the things that you used to have fun when you were a kid. If you like eating popcorn, eat popcorn. If you like to get wet in the rain, do that. Do the things that make you happy, not other people happy.
Yes.
And you try to be aware of all the things that you tell to yourself the moment you open your eyes. And you will notice that your inner conversation is the one that's been destroying you for the last couple of years or your entire life. And you guess who can change that? Who can change your inner conversation?
Just you.
Just you. Yes. Yes, but when you, as I said before, when you identify that all these things that you tell to yourself are the voices that you used to hear when you were very little, and you took them as truth, and you think, yes, I am short, I am fat, I am numb, I am whatever thing that you've been telling yourself. I am lazy, I am not worth it, whatever. When you identify where they come from, you start changing the way you think about yourself. And it's all the work, it's you with you. I mean, everything is in here. So stop looking for answers outside. You have everything in you, all the greatness, all the beauty. You have so many strengths and gifts, and you just have to remind your mind that you are great, and you're worth living a great life, no matter how old you are, no matter what stage in life are you living.
That's a wonderful answer, a wonderful answer. And the one thing I learnt out of that is, as soon as this call is finished, I'm going to get some jelly and ice cream.
Yes.
Let's do that, absolutely.
One thing that we have not yet given you the opportunity to do is to read us an extract from your book.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Well, I was thinking, what, any chapter, or just like the first chapters, right?
It's your choice.
I'm gonna read you a little bit of the first chapter called Apocalypse, and it goes like this. 5 o'clock in the morning, I opened my eyes to another day. Like every day for the past 2 months, I had to run to the bathroom to throw up. Bitter bile. It was just bile. Lately, it was the only thing my body was producing, triggered by an anguish that was already beyond my capacity. I couldn't stop thinking about the million things that tormented me and took away my peace. Peace. It had been a long time since I had experienced it. In fact, it had become my greatest yearning to be able to live in peace, to be able to live a day without starts, without surprises, without overwhelming events. The phone started ringing early in the morning. Calls from banks and creditors demanding payment, one after another. Threats of repossession. No subtle reminders that I was in the middle of a chaos of epic proportions. I felt the weight of the world on my shoulders, and it hurt physically. My face and my body rictus reflected a woman with many more years than I had. How to hide the wear and tear and emotional exhaustion? The body does not lie and always shows how we are inside. At this point, I felt I had lived 10 lives in one. And the top it off, I was experiencing the midlife crisis. I kept thinking that I needed to make a radical decision. I was slowly losing my mind. My understanding was completely clouded. But how could he go through this if he was not well? I had no one. I had not one but 3 young daughters. If I didn't have a penny to make my way, if everything scared me to death, if I was so tired, strengthless, without will, I didn't think I could stand one more test. How do you decide to tear down the castle you've worked so hard to build? How do you say goodbye to a 20-year relationship, to a whole life? It wasn't just me. There were 4 other people involved, and the decision will affect us all forever. And I had to make it. It wasn't fair. I had played all my cards. I had run out of ideas. I had tried all the alternatives. I had knocked every door and nothing. I had been on psychiatric medication for over 6 months now to control anxiety attacks. Every night I had to change my night clothes and sometimes my bed sheets because of the amount of sweat I produced during sleep. I had forgotten what it felt to be happy, really happy. We were 7 years into this carnival, 2,555 days of uncertainty. Where was I going to get the courage to ask him to leave? At that time, it was a matter of survival. We had 3 daughters. They needed at least one of their parents to be sane and stand up for them. That has been one of the most painful moments I have to go through. One that I put off for 5 years. It took too much courage. I asked for advice for everyone who crossed my path. I asked everyone for permission to make a life or death decision. The uncertainty I lived through those years led me to that state of self-destruction and burned out. And how could I have imagined that one decision would have so many consequences? As a couple, we gambled everything too. In our understanding as entrepreneurs, built a firm and a stable heritage for our family. A business option that seemed to be a dream come true. We put everything into it, resources, time, heart, and enthusiasm. And nothing went as we had imagined. One stumble after another, one obstacle after another, until we went bankrupt. In the hope of getting the boat afloat again, we ended up selling everything we owned, everything we had at hand, because the dream was big. There was no chance of giving up. But no, it did not come to fruition. We lost everything. With a 2-year-old daughter and another one on the way, from then on it was all downhill. And a terrible depression followed, months and months with our faces to the ground, both of us crying our eyes out. This depression caused my daughter's father to develop a more serious disorder. His brain stopped producing certain substances until one day he began to show evidence of a bipolar disorder that eventually developed into a more serious one with features of schizophrenia and psychotic outbreaks. In this process, he was in and out of the mental health institute several times, sometimes for a week and sometimes for more than a month. This was necessary to stabilize him and return him to a state of sanity. I don't even want to tell you about the situations we lived through that made it unavoidable to put him in the hands of professionals. The medicines I needed to buy for him were very expensive, and there was no way he could avoid taking them. So all my work efforts were focused on getting the money to pay for them month after month. There was almost nothing left to pay for all the rest. How could I imagine that this reality was possible in those happy days when we dedicated ourselves to traveling, living a good life, where our biggest concern was what new car model we were going to buy that year, when we dreamed of starting our family, having happy little blonde children, where we were only able to see ourselves in that Liverpool ad picture of happy family. Liverpool is a store in Mexico. Some years later, in an apparent period of stability, it happened that after many months of sexual abstinence, there was an encounter, a single intimate contact. And against all odds, a few weeks later, I discovered that I was pregnant. Madness, you will say, and yes, absolute crazy moment. That when she was born 9 months later, it brought us to a surprise that we had a new daughter with a particular genetic condition. She had Down syndrome, accompanied by one of the common traits of this syndrome, a cardiopathy, malformation of the heart that required prompt intervention if we wanted her to live more than a year. With no health insurance, no job, no savings, and nowhere to draw on for resources, we began the adventure of seeking how we were going to get her through her open heart surgery. A nightmare that, of course, I didn't want to or need to live in the midst of everything I have already told you. Facing again the possibility of a death of a child was not in my plans, so I used my last economic, mental, and energetic resources to try to save her from this prognosis. In order for you to understand the context, I will go back a little further to tell you how this group of growth experiences started. My greatest longing has always been to be a mother. Since I married very young and I didn't want to tie myself to the care of a child from the age of 22, we decided to wait and live our life as a couple. In those wonderful years, we were able to travel the world and do whatever we wanted. Go out, stay up late, live a life as we were single. Those were good years. When it was the time to have a child, things started to get complicated. It was the first time I realized that I have no control over almost anything. You may want to be a mom or dad, but life may have other plans for you. So we started trying for 3 months and nothing. At 6, we started to get impatient, and after a year, that was a tragedy. We went through multiple treatments, monitoring hormones, etc., until after 2.5 years, I managed to get pregnant. The joy, happiness, and fulfillment I felt at that moment was unparalleled. In fact, I thought that once I had my baby in my arms, everything would finally be right. I lived a pregnancy full of love and care. I dreamed of a life full of moments by his side. I imagined his little face and what he would smell like. I felt a love that grew with every heartbeat. We all looked forward to him. He was a boy, the family's firstborn. So it took us. Should I keep on going? or it's too long?
I can,
Yeah, I was trying to get on to the end of the chapter 1, but maybe it's too long now.
well, the point is, what you want to do is to whet people's appetite so they can't wait to go out and buy the book.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the first chapter, which describes
Wow.
the apocalyptic moment I was living in. But then throughout the book, you get to know all the solutions for a life complicated as that was, right?
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that, because it was, you know, I was on the edge of my seat trying to think what's going to happen next, you know. But it is a wonderful book. You know, you started from a challenging place, but what you learned on your journey is invaluable and unique. And I'm not surprised that people are getting so much help and inspiration from Bulletproof Woman. So I absolutely congratulate you on producing something very special, very unique, and something that will be helping people for years and years to come. So this is just the start. There we go. I realize the time now is 8:10. So we were planning to do an hour, and already you've given even greater value for money than could be possibly asked. So let's open the call to the floor. Are there any comments or questions that anybody has? What was it dangerous? Oh, there we go. Max, yes, please.
No, just to say that it was very smart to read the first chapter called Apocalypse, because now I want to see how you came out of all of that, which is the purpose of the book. So well done.
Thank you. Thank you. My pleasure.
That's good. So anything you'd like to say to finish, Paula?
Well, I just want to finish with this, and I share this in every single opportunity I have to speak. This book was my medicine, right? Was my solution to all the things I had left inside, and I needed to put out in the world to become a better person, right? And what I'm amazed is that since that very first day that this book was put out there to the universe, many things had happened. As you say, we have walked a lot, right? This book by now has been translated to English and to Turkish and to Hungarian, and the audiobook is already done, and it goes and goes on, because as you say, it's a message that fits most of us, right? And my deep desire, my very honest and deep desire, is that you find through these pages the most honest mirror of yourself, and you become a better person to make this a better world, because that's the mission that we should all focus on, no? To make this a better world and leave this world better for our kids and for our grandkids and for the generations to come. And the moment is now, and we can only do what we can do. And this is my apportation. I don't know if it's apportation is a word in English.
That's great.
No escuché.
Your grain of sand.
Contribution. Yeah, my contribution.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, at the beginning of this call, I charged you with a responsibility. Now is the moment to discharge your responsibility and give Paula the applause she richly deserves.
Thank you.
Yes.
you go.
Thank you so much.
And my deep wish is for soon to be there in York and in England and be present, do a presential event and talk with people and be there for you.
We all have a responsibility to share this and to tell our friends and to help together to make the world a better place.
Exactly.
So
Yes,
thank you,
absolutely.
for everybody. Thank you for you all being a part of this and giving up your time, which is a precious commodity. So I thank you all for that. And I look forward to getting any feedback that you may have or anything you'd like to share. Put it on chat. My email is chris@filamentpublishing.com. So is there anything you'd like to share or anything that we can help you with? I will have a recording of this. I'm happy to share it with your permission, Paula.
Yes, absolutely.
So if anybody wants a recording, I'm happy to make it available.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Agnes,
Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Bye. We love you.